For years you were trapped in your own mind, constantly overthinking every decision and interaction. Your thoughts spiraled endlessly, leaving you exhausted and anxious. No matter how hard you tried, you couldn't escape the cycle. Your teens and 20s were marked by sleepless nights and endless worry, feeling like there was no way out. Then one day, you read something that stuck with you. You can't think your way out of overthinking. It clicked. Maybe the answer wasn't thinking more, but doing more. You began journaling each morning, putting your chaotic thoughts on paper. Slowly, it brought clarity and organization to your mind. Next, you started exercising, discovering that physical movement quieted your racing thoughts. The act of moving your body gave you peace. You also committed to taking action instead of waiting for the perfect conditions. Each small step forward, whether it was applying for a job or started a new hobby, it built your confidence and silenced your doubts. Walking became your escape, allowing you to be present and connected with the world around you. Finally, you started living in alignment with your true purpose. You pursued what truly mattered to you, letting go of societal expectations. As you found fulfillment, your overthinking began to fade into the background. For the first time, you felt free. Your thoughts no longer controlled you, and you were finally able to live fully in the present. So I've always been an overthinker, ever since I can remember. Because I've always been very sensitive, and I've always had a tendency to get into very negative thought patterns and thought loops where I would think some absolutely crazy thoughts about the world, about me, about my friends and my family, whatever it might be. It could be anything, and I would just catastrophize everything. I would feel like everything was falling apart. The world is ending and there's no hope for the future at all. This caused a lot of unnecessary anxiety and depression. These thoughts that I had really just dig this hole of despair deeper and deeper, and it just wears you down. And the most scary part for me was that I did not know what to do. I didn't know if I was going crazy or if the thoughts that I was thinking was unnatural. But I know now that like maybe 80% of people are overthinkers. But the amazing thing is that I discovered things that I still to this day practice on the daily. Every single day I practice these steps. And I think the most important thing for me that I found out was that you just have to align your life with a purpose that gives you meaning and fulfillment. This topic has already been covered in a previous video of mine, so I suggest that you go watch that if you want a video that goes really in depth of this point. But this point is just very powerful, and this could be the most important point for everybody, for anybody's life. This point, I think, can save you. Firstly, when you begin aligning your life to your true purpose, your time becomes much more precious, much more valuable, and you don't have the time to spend on useless thoughts, useless people, useless things that are only tearing you down, because you have a purpose now. And when you have a purpose, anything else will become more and more irrelevant, more and more unimportant, because when you slowly begin to align your life with your purpose, this is the only thing that in the end you will give a fuck about, because this is the only thing that means anything to you. Of course, you still have to value your friends and family. That's a given. But your purpose should be the most important thing for you, for yourself. And then I think that you should really get into creating a self-transcendent purpose. Self-transcendency is literally about stepping out of your own concerns. So you have now eliminated every possible way for you to dwell on these self-destructing thoughts, already just by aligning your life to your purpose. Sometimes it's good to hear it from somebody else. So the point is exercise, because exercising will teach you a very valuable lesson. Act more and think less. And of course we need to be thinking about if we are doing the movement correct. But the thing is, when you are working out, you can only focus on your muscles contracting. That's the only thing you can focus on. And of course breathing correctly and all these body functions that you are using in the moment. So you don't even have time to be concerned about any of your intrusive thoughts. So exercise, very important, teaches you valuable lesson. And then there is the bonus of, your body is releasing hormones as endorphins and dopamine, which will leave you feeling good and energized and optimistic, and you will begin to develop a self-belief, and this will also act as an aid for your overthinking, and your mental health will improve as well. So this bleeds into my next point, which is just taking action. This is important. You can't think your way out of overthinking. I've written it down in my journal because it is so fucking true. And I keep reminding myself of this because, as I stated in the beginning of this video, I have always been an overthinker. For as long as I could remember, I have always thought and thought and thought before I acted. Now I have switched it around. So now I act first and think about it later. Because taking action alleviates all fear. Believe me. Because the vast majority of the time when we feel overwhelmed and stressed out, it's because of a lack of action. It's not because we are doing too much. It isn't. It's because we don't do the things that we know we should do. Because when you take action, your brain doesn't have time to be thinking about what you're doing, because you just do. When you don't take action, you give your brain more and more time to overanalyze and overthink and throw you into negative thought loops and patterns, which will in turn make it harder for you to actually begin taking action. The sooner you begin taking action, the less time your brain will have to paralyze you. Because this can happen, you can actually get paralyzed. You know this. Get in this paralyzing loop pattern where you can't even move. Don't even know where to begin. So, most effective cure for overthinking is just do something. Doesn't matter what. Because when you begin to take action, you're actually proving to your brain that the problem actually has a solution. And this will alleviate and almost eliminate your overthinking and your fears and your irrational thinking in general. Because the vast majority of the time we can actually fix these problems by just taking action. It doesn't even have to be an act that has anything to do with this problem. And this bleeds into my next point, which is to go for a walk. This is something that has helped me tremendously. I don't know where I would be if it had not been for me going for long distance walks in the forest, in the open fields, because this gave me a break. This gave my mind a break from all the fuckery from the modern life, the circus of the modern life. Because when you practice going for walks in the forest or in the fields where you can see the horizon in the distance, where you can see open landscape, it really puts things into perspective. Because this modern lifestyle, this unnatural way of living that we humans have adopted, it can really just wear you down, and you can begin to lose yourself in this fucking circus. And you will be surprised as to how natural it feels to go for a walk in the forest or in the fields, or even, climbing a tree. Being a little childish. Bring your inner child out, because the modern world always tells us that we can't be acting as childs. We need to be adults, working from 9 to 5 within 4 walls. I was working at a tree cutting factory for a whole year, and I would wake up very early and go on my bicycle. And from the time that I woke up and got to the factory, I wouldn't see the sun. Then I would work all the way until 16, and I would still not see the sun when I got out of the factory. How fucked is that? That's not natural. That's not good. So you need to get some sun, you need to get some air, touch some grass, experience, the primal way of living just sometimes, to remind yourself what it's like to really be human. Because you're not fucking human when you work on some small desk and look at a screen all day and work for some big fat motherfucker, your boss, and big fat boss. Fuck him. Go for a walk. And it will also remind you that life doesn't have to be that complicated. You choose if your life should be complicated or not. So the last point I'm gonna talk about is journaling, and this is also a reoccurring theme in my videos, but that's also just because I think it's a very useful tool in your self-improvement arsenal. And I have my journal in front of me right now. I use it every single day when I wake up. After my morning routine, this is the first thing I do. I write 1 page every single day, just to get my thoughts down on this piece of paper, so I can sit and analyze it. I can observe my thoughts, and then I can begin to understand that these thoughts doesn't mean shit. They're just thoughts. Some of these thoughts I'm writing down are useful, but the vast majority of the time, they don't mean shit. They're just random, chaotic things. I mean, half of this book is just weird stuff. Not safe for work stuff. I'm kidding. The act of journaling will promote self-growth. It will, in the end, teach you an impressive level of self-awareness. And it can give you direction. It can give you... it also put things into perspective, and you begin to understand things about the way you are thinking and why you are thinking all these random thoughts. And it gives you a break. I think it takes like 15 to 20 minutes for me to write a page in this book, and it gives me a break. It's a form of meditation. I have not put meditation in this video because it's something I'm still getting into. So right now, my form of meditation is actually journaling. So in the future, I'm gonna make a video dedicated to meditation and share my my experiences with it. So that's that.